Hi, this is Mr. K's, and today it's 4.3. We're going to be talking about Persia. Last time we met, we talked about the bad boys of Mesopotamia called Assyria. Well, you're going to see eventually Persia take them over, and Persia is nothing more than ancient Iran. We're seeing the rise of Persia, or ancient Iran. It was wealthy in copper, lead, gold, and silver. Now, if you recall, Assyria was bumped off by the Medes and the Chaldeans. Eventually, here come the Persians, and they're going to take over. The kingdoms of the Medes and Persians unite to defeat Assyria in 1612, about 2,600 years ago. And the key individual here is going to be Cyrus. He was king of Persia. He conquered all the way eastward from the Indus River all the way to Anatolia. Anatolia is ancient Turkey. What did he leave behind? Well, his legacy is his method of governing. He was tolerant of others' cultures by honoring local customs and religions. I say, instead of cutting people like the Assyrians, he cut them some slack. He said, pay your taxes, don't rebel, and everything will be hunky-dory, everything will be great. And he told his troops not to loot and burn the conquered cities. See, eventually, that's how armies are paid, is by letting your troops loot the city. But he was kind. He did not let that happen. In doing so now, he's going to be well thought of by people. Babylon was attacked by Cyrus, and they peacefully opened their gates to him. They knew a good thing when they saw it. If we can't rule ourselves, we don't mind you coming in, Cyrus, because at least you are kind to us. So Babylon peacefully opened its gates to Cyrus. The Jews were allowed to return. Now, when the Persians took over Babylon, they inherited the captured Jews. And it's under Cyrus, I believe, that Daniel is able to go back Daniel was around during that time to rule, help Cyrus rule. But it's Ezra, I believe, that was allowed to go back and build the temple under the Persians. And later on, Nehemiah was able to build the city walls of Jerusalem. So you can look up your Old Testament Bible stories, and there is good old Cyrus. Cyrus was kind to conquered people. In doing so, he's going to rule a larger area than the Assyrians ever did. Cyrus is eventually going to die in battle, and he's succeeded by his son Cambyses. Now, Cambyses was not the man his dad was. He's not as great a man as his dad was. And he makes some mistakes here. He invades Egypt, but instead of a public relations campaign here to make the Egyptians happy, he scorns their gods, and eventually he's going to die 8 years later. So he doesn't live a long time, and he's got a lot of contentious people to rule over, as where Cyrus was a lot nicer to the captured people. Eventually, you're going to see Cambyses succeeded by Darius, or Darius. Now, Darius is not related to Cyrus. He's not of his family. But he's a nobleman in the king's bodyguard. And he is going to take the advantage of seizing the throne with these elite soldiers called the 10,000 Immortals. That was Cyrus's private army. And eventually he's going to restore order. He's going to restore order. And it's during Darius's rule that you have a 2,500-mile empire taking place. Persians conquer a lot, but they're not able to take the Greek city-states, and we're going to see that when we get into Greece. Darius was a great administrator, just like Cyrus was, and the locals were allowed to live by their own rules. Each region or province had a governor called a satrap, who answered to the empire. There were spies that kept an eye on the satraps to make sure they didn't rebel, and an army leader was posted in the province and a tax collector to make things more efficient. The Persians built a 1,600-mile road from Shushan or Susa in Persia all the way to Sardis in Anatolia. In doing so, now you have a greater trade opened up, and the army can use the road if they needed to put down rebellions. We have evidences that they had coined money, and it united Darius's empire. The idea was borrowed from another region in Asia Minor called Lydia. So, cultural diffusion here. The road and coins promoted trade and a unified unit of currency here. In fact, I think I should put down unity, U-N-I-T-Y. Sorry about that. So I want you to see this map here. Notice the road ran from the Summer Palace in Shushan or Susa all the way up to Anatolia, to Sardis, and near the trade routes. Now, as far as religion goes, during this time we have Zoroaster, who was a prophet, who had a different belief in the spiritual world. He believed that in everybody's life there's two spiritual armies waging a fight for your soul. The holy writings of Zoroaster were called the Avesta, and it shows one's actions control their fate. Either heaven to be gained, or kind of like a hell, a dismal underworld. Well, that's the end of 4.3. It's not the end of good old Mr. K's. You'll see me down the way. Bye-bye.